Hey everyone, my name is Justin James. Those of you who are subscribed to my channel, you may know my name. I'm not sure. I forgot if my name is actually in the channel name, but I usually post just gaming stuff, maybe some Christian content stuff. Today I want to share with you my testimony. Um, in my struggles and kind of my background, my family kind of history, um, some things that I feel like that can help somebody. And if my testimony can help encourage somebody or uplift somebody, then, I just wanted to do that. I feel like the Holy Spirit today wanted me to do something like this. Okay. So, kind of taking it back to when I was born, because this is when it all started. So, I was born in 1998, and I was born 2 months prematurely. And this happened, my mom was using the bathroom and then blood. And then or she found blood and then her and my dad, they went to the hospital. And I was delivered that day in an emergency C-section. So I was very small, and my dad recalls that I was basically the size of his hand. I was about 3 pounds 2 ounces, or 3 pounds 6 ounces, or something like that. I think my mom told me that a long time ago. I know I was 3 pounds. So um yeah, so I was really small. I was in an incubator. And so I was in the incubator, or I was supposed to be in the incubator for about 6 to 9 months to grow, to get stronger, etc., etc. But I was only in the incubator. I was only there in the hospital for about 3 to 4 weeks. And I think that's the first thing that of other than me being born and being alive, I believe that's the first kind of sign that the Lord gave, in my life, that He was with me. Um, so they called me. My dad recalls them calling me the miracle baby because of I recovered so quickly. So for me being premature, there's got to be a period where you grow and develop, etc. So sooner or later, my parents, they noticed that I wasn't walking when I was young. When I was like 1 or 2 years old or something like that, around 1 years old, I wasn't walking. And later to find out, kind of jumping ahead of the story a little bit, that I have spastic diplegia, which is, I believe, a form of cerebral palsy. And what that means is that um, I can't lift my legs. There's some type of muscle paralysis in my legs and feet where I'm unable to move the muscles, like walking, um, or my legs are really weak. So it's my legs are really skinny and my feet are really skinny and I have foot drop. So I can still feel my legs, I can still feel my feet, but the muscles inside of my legs and feet, a lot of them are paralyzed. I can like do small, very small movements, but nothing that can amount to actually walking. So when I was around 1 or 2, I started to do therapy, um, and I started to wear braces on my feet, and I started to use a walker because whenever I was walking in the walker, I couldn't walk straight, so I used braces to help me, and then the walker to kind of guide me. And then something else happened. So when I was around 1 or 2, three, I think I was around 3. My mom had a stroke, and that's kind of been a part of my life too. So my mom's had a few strokes. I think maybe one before I was born, and then a couple, after and since. So that was kind of hard to deal with, I know, for my family. Um, but my dad told me the story of we were in the hospital, and my mom just had a stroke, right? And it was her, my dad, my Dolores, my grandmother, and I was going through therapy to walk, and up to that point. So my mom was in the hospital. Here we are in the hospital room, and I took my first steps in the hospital room, and I walked towards my mom, which I find very, the Lord works in marvelous ways. Not just mysterious ways to us, but He works in marvelous ways. I think that was another sign that the Lord showed His glory, and He showed how He's here with us, even though we're struggling, even though we may not understand why we're going through what we're going through. which my mom was going through. So I was there. I was used as the instrument for the Lord that day. And either way, so fast forward, school, as I was young, I wore braces to school, and I wore shorts a lot, when I was like in first, second, third, fourth grade, because I wasn't ashamed of it. But my family, we moved from Memphis, or we moved from Minnesota to Memphis, I think in 2009 or 2008, late 2008. And after that, I wasn't the same. I was more insecure about myself. I was looking at other students and other kids, and I'm saying, hey, they have limitations, or they don't have limitations like I do. And that's something that hindered me, I believe. I stopped wearing shorts. Even though I had to wear uniforms, I stopped wearing shorts outside of school with the braces on. And that kind of made that, that was a different perspective, because I was so out there as a kid. I was cool as a kid. But then when I started getting to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, then that's when I kind of started to feel bad, I guess you could say, maybe insecure, inadequate about my feet. And I was always the kid in gym class who couldn't really run fast. I was always the kid in the hallways that couldn't really walk that fast. And, that affected me eventually when I got to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And something that, as I'm older, that I'm realizing is that the Lord, he uses our limitations for his glory. Paul says that, or Paul, he had a thorn inside, and he asked the Lord to take the thorn out. And the Lord told Paul that my grace is sufficient. My power is perfected in weakness. And I can see that in my life and how God was there for me, even before I even could conceive that he was there for me. And before I can even understand that he was there for me. So we fast forward to high school, and I'm in marching band. And so in marching band, it was hard a little bit, because I couldn't walk as fast as everybody else, and I was the only person in the band that kind of had those type of limitations. So it was hard for me to be in the same, feel good about myself, because for the longest time in marching band, during band camp, I didn't have my shorts on. I had long pants on. So when the performances came around, I had to wear my shorts. And when I had to wear my shorts, I felt like the odd one out. I kind of felt like everybody was staring at me. Everybody was looking at me, especially when it came to the actual performances, during the games. But the Lord used it, my weakness, he used my limitations for his glory. That you can do anything that God tells you that to do. Oftentimes when God tells us to do things, we often combat like, oh, Lord, I have a limitation here, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. But when the Lord asks us to do things, he'll give us the strength to do it. He'll give us the tools to do it, because he already gave us the tools to do it. So in high school, I'm a short guy, right? So I'm already short. I'm already the shortest kid in my family. I'm the shortest guy in my family, right? I'm like 5'2", 5'3", or whatever the case may be, and everybody else is like 6 feet. So I'm already dealing with that. In high school, people's thinking I'm 12 years old because I have a young face. It's like, oh, you done but 12. Like, okay. That's one thing, right? And then I had braces. I walk funny. My feet are kind of like this shaped, while walking, and then it kind of looks awkward and stuff like that. And then I started to overthink. Then I'm starting to think about, how I'm walking. I'm like, oh. Then I started to develop this insecurity of just walking in front of people, which I still do with, walking in front of people looking down at me, or not even looking down at me. They're looking at my feet like this. I walk past them. They're like that. I'm like, dang. And sometimes those type of looks are more hurtful than words, or just as hurtful as words. That's something that I've struggled with, and I have a lot of days of just feeling insecure about myself. I remember when I was in college, when I was trying to do marching band, because I had to. I did do marching band in college because I was a music education major. So I had to have, I think, a half a semester or a full semester of marching band. I can't remember what it was. But I had to sit on the sidelines while everybody else was marching because, I wasn't able to do the things. I had disabilities, so I wasn't able to do the things that everybody else was able to do. I was only able to play in a stand, and I play clarinet, by the way. And it was hard. It was really hard because I felt like I was letting people down, even though I couldn't do the things that the other people can do. So I was out there in the sidelines, and I remember it was one of the worst, I won't say worst, but one of the most painful times because I loved band. I loved marching band, and I couldn't contribute how I wanted to contribute. And I am feeling guilty for having the disability that I have. I had to every day get up, in the morning and then just sit there while everybody's working hard, sweating. Everybody else is tired, and I look like I'm on the sidelines just, chilling, even though deep down I want to be out there. And that really hurt also because I feel like I was left out. Everybody else is having fun. Everybody else is doing this, that, and the other, right? And this kind of goes back to other things, how I felt in the past, even before that in college, or before in high school or middle school, when all the kids were playing, having fun, playing basketball and succeeding at it. And I'm sitting here, I'm limited, so I'm playing basketball, I'm falling over in gym class. I'm falling every day in gym class, being awkward. I can't, run, Anyway, so I'm dealing with all these things and all the embarrassment that I feel just by being me as far as having my limitation. And there's a lot of embarrassment that comes with it, right? I'm going somewhere with this. I know I'm just wallowing or venting at this point. But there's a lot of emotion that goes into this and how God can use those things for his glory. So, while I was in college, in the situation with the marching band, it got resolved and, I didn't have to do it anymore. I was kind of excused of it, but it was a valuable learning lesson. That the Lord, first of all, can deliver me from something so painful, but I think the pain, it can be used for his glory. And it can be used to help other people in their situations. And I will encourage you that any and every situation that you go through, God is always there with us. And remember, like, our hairs are numbered on our head. He's that involved in our life. And whenever we may go through a limitation, we may go through something in our household, because my mom had a couple of strokes, and I think she taught me how to be strong in a huge way. And of course my dad as well, with the things that he has going on, but he taught me different things as far as being supportive of my mom. This is kind of a side kind of bar thing, but being supportive of my mom and being strong in its own way as far as holding down the household when both me and my mom are going through limitations. These are just different things that my family and I've gone through that have shown the Lord's favor in our life, and it's showing that the Lord loves us through even our limitations. Like, my feet and my spastic diplegia doesn't affect the way that God sees me. And I would say the same thing for you who listen to this video. If you have any limitations or anything that you've gone through, whatever has happened, God does not see you any differently. It doesn't matter what disability you have. It doesn't matter what ailment you have, what situation, what home life you have, what economic standing that you have. God is always with you, and it does not matter to God about those outer things. It only matters about our hearts, being loyal to him. But anyway, so I wanted to share with you my testimony because I wanted to share with you my testimony because I feel like I can help somebody through the Lord, and be an instrument of someone, or an instrument to someone that can help them in their time of maybe feeling insecure about an ailment or a limitation or whatever the case may be. So I hope my testimony was a blessing to you guys, and you guys have a blessed day.